Okay, today we're going to make a Mexican Day of the Dead sugar skull out of air drying clay. So what we've got is we've got a ball of air drying clay here, sort of just bigger than a golf ball. We've also got a pencil, we've got a sponge, we've got a little container with a little bit of water in, and we've got a picture of a skull to help us in terms of when we're actually modelling. And hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to turn this little ball into something which will look like that, which will then dry over a couple of days. I've also got a little hook in there which will help us to hang these up for display after we've painted them and personalised them. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our ball of air drying clay out. If you find this gets dry in the classroom, what you can do is use a little bit of water, and you will get messy on your hands. Use a little bit of water and that will keep the clay from being too dry and cracky. Okay, so we've got our ball, and then what we're going to do is we're going to push it down a little bit. So we're going to flatten the base, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pinch our two fingers in like this, not quite hard, and push it down at the same time. So pinching it in, pushing down, and pinching in, that's about halfway in the circle. And pulling that down at the same time, pushing it down. So we're getting it flat now, so less like a circle, so we're almost getting like a nice flat shape. So pinching in at the middle and pressing down. So I'm going to keep checking my picture just to check the shape, and I'm going to start pulling that down a little bit there, which is going to form the sort of jaw shape. So if I do that one so you guys can see it, so you can see I'm starting to get that sort of big sort of skull shape at the top here, and then pulling it down so I've got the jaw. Okay, and by doing it, there's lots of different ways to build these skulls. You can do them out of sort of a ball shape, but this is quite a nice easy way to do it. So it almost looks like a little bit like a light bulb, or a bit like a long sort of snouty nose. So I push it down a little bit and pinching in at the same time. So I'm just going to turn this around facing myself, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the end of the pencil, and just where I think looking at my skull picture, I'm going to make a hole with the pencil, and then I'm going to start wiggling it out, pushing it out on the sides to get that hole bigger, and swirling it around a little bit. Okay, and I can just about so I can get my finger inside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over this side here, push it in a little bit, wiggle it around until I can get my finger in. Then I can use my fingers just to open that out, keep it a little bit in the middle for where the nose would be, and then using your sort of pinchers with your thumb and your fingers, just start to pinch that outer wall of the eye and smooth it around carefully, pulling that up there, just checking my picture all the time. So using them quite big, quite deep, because obviously it's the skull where the eye orbits would actually, the eyes would sit inside there. Okay, a little bit of water because it's just cracking a little bit because it's getting a little bit dry. Open that out and give them a good swirl around just to get that shape. And I can actually use that to help get that nice smooth skull shape at the top. There we go, I'm pinching it in all the time, so I've got that sort of coming down into the jaw. So just turn that round. You will find it sticks a little bit. You can just press it down so you can see my eye shapes are taking shape. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the nose in now. So I'm going to use the pencil-y end, and I'm going to just push in almost like a little hole and wiggle it up in a straight line, and then I'm going to do that just next to it, push it in a little bit dotty, almost dot it in and wiggle it in, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Because what I almost want, if you're looking at it from your way, almost like a V shape. So if I pinch it in there, you can see almost like a V, or almost like a love heart shape. Because remember, your nose has got two nasal cavities, not one. So you push that up there, and pinch that in a little bit, and then push the eyes in again. So you're constantly shaping and reshaping as you're deforming the clay, pushing it down, playing with the skull. I'm just going to use the nib of the pencil there to make that nose a bit taller. There we go. Keep reshaping it all the time. so I get that sort of V shape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably use my pencil now to just draw in where the mouth will be. So I'm going to draw in sort of like little teeth shapes in here, maybe down there where the mouth would be, and along and across. Oop, no, across there, and maybe put individual little lines where the teeth would go, and then I can start stabbing it a little bit up and down to get some nice sort of teeth shapes in here, just to create that sort of little mouth shape there. So just that gets me a mouth position. And then what I'm going to do as well, you've sort of got where your eyebrows are. I'm going to use the side of the pencil, and I'm just making little indentations in and around the eyes at the top, pressing in the clay. So I'm almost like pressing in a little ridge, and then I'm just going to push that top of that skull back a little bit flatter. So and then I'm going to put my finger and thumb in, and I'm going to push that clay up towards me. So I'm starting to make like a little ridge around the eyes, using the side of the pencil to push the clay and scoop it up towards my finger. That's giving that little bit of resistance against it. And then push that skull down area there. And then I'm going to do the same again. So I'm just going to put my finger in the eye socket and push that clay down. And then probably pinch that up maybe with my finger. Push it around the other side. Just you reform that shape. But we do the same, just move my water pot out of the way. Reform that in the middle. So pinch that down, reform my skull. So that's nice and big at the top, pinching it round. And I'm just creating those sort of like that bone area in and around the eyes by pinching the clay, and then doing it on this side as well. Just pinching it in and around. And then I might just pinch that in under the eyes to create where like the cheekbones would be on your face. So just pinch that clay in there. You can use your fingers or use the pencil, doesn't really matter. There we go, just give those eyes a bit more of a pinch out. Push that down. Get that nose probably a little bit flatter. And you constantly, as you can see, you're constantly reshaping and reshaping. And what I'm doing all the time is I'm looking at my picture to see some of the detail. I'm sort of looking around the eyes here, inside the eyes. Where does the nose go up to? The nose probably actually goes a little bit higher into the eyes actually. So I'm just gonna push that up a little bit. So I can see it's cracking a little bit because the room where I'm working is quite warm. So remember, if you wanna, don't be afraid to put a little bit of water on your finger and get that smoothed out. There we go. That might do just a little bit down on the chin area as well. And then what I could do is if I wanted these sort of, you can actually use the flat part of the pencil to maybe just get some little indentations just above maybe where the teeth are, as you would expect to get on the skull, and press them in just on the top there. So just slightly pressing the tops in there, and that'll give me that sort of, that feeling of sort of that mouth area. And wet it a little bit because we're drying out. There we go. And I might just give it a little push up at the bottom with my pencil in the middle. So give it like almost like a dimple chin and pull that chin down a little bit. Push that pencil in there, give it a spin maybe, just so I've got that almost like a bit of a dimple chin, and push that chin under like that. And if I just turn that around, there you go. You can see sort of how far we've got, and I could probably continue to work this and shape it, get those, you know, eye sockets really deep, dig away. Once it's nice and smooth, you can sort of play around with this, push that down, get a bit of detail around those eyes there, just pull that away until you're happy with it. And then what we would do is we'll get a little hook like this one, and then we're going to push that into the top of the skull. Push that all the way in there. There we go. And then hopefully, he says, this will dry with that hook in. That's our plan anyway. And then that'll give us an opportunity to hang these up on display. Then we're going to let this dry, and we're going to paint it with maybe poster paints or acrylic, maybe with a little bit of PVA glue on to give it a really nice gloss shine. We'll probably paint it white first, or even black to get a base coat, and then you can put all your beautiful Day of the Dead patterns and designs and symbols on. Okay, that's pretty much it, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck with yours.